नमस्ते दोस्तों, मेरा नाम है डॉक्टर मिलिंद तनवर. आई एम एन आर्थ्रोस्कोपी and a joint replacement surgeon presently working with Jyoti Hospital, Gurgaon. So this video brings in a few frequently asked questions on ACL injury, how it occurs, how should I know that I have an ACL injury, how should I get treated, do I actually need to get this surgery done. These are the frequently asked questions that patients come to us with, and this video will clear some of your myths, some of your doubts, and give you a direction on the kind of treatment that you need. So the one bone should not slide over the other and the knee should not pop out, right? So one of these ligaments, the most crucial of them, is basically called the ACL. So if you visualize, this is the thigh bone, this is the leg bone, and between these two there is a band that you can see. This yellow colored band like structure is basically called the ACL. So whenever there is a pivoting force, like a pivoting injury, this ligament gets stretched out, and this injury usually causes a sprain or a strain to the ligament. So in case the energy of trauma supersedes the strain, this usually leads to a break in this ligament. The break can be a partial break or a complete break. This kind of injury is usually seen in sporting activities, roadside accidents, or a normal fall from a height, staircase, whereby the patient slips from an area. So essential function of this ligament is, first thing first, to prevent one of these bones to slide forwards over the other. That is basically called the anterior translation. The other thing that this ligament does is it prevents the pivoting or the rotational component of one bone over the other. So whenever your foot is fixed and your body rotates over this knee joint, this causes the sprain or the tear on this ACL. So coming directly to the next question, do I have an ACL tear? So this question can be easily answered. The only symptom that the ACL injury presents with is called instability. This instability or underconfidence, it's typically seen or felt by the patient whenever they are trying to change their direction while running, or they are skipping and they jump from a staircase, maybe one stair, two stairs, or any kind of a distance that they try and jump, they try and hop. So they feel that there is an underconfidence and their knee would buckle, right? So this buckling is basically this instability, and in case one feels that there is an instability, this is basically one of those criteria where these patients usually require a surgical intervention to come back to the field. This instability might also be associated with clicking noises. This might also be associated with subtle swelling, which might increase and gradually decrease with time after each injury. This might also have a concomitant locking or a catching feeling, right? So this locking and catching, what we are trying to explain is, there may be a meniscal tear, there may be a cartilage injury, there may be concomitant other ligament injuries, which may lead to other symptoms than the instability. The pain, swelling, loss of range of movement, and painful restricted movements, these are the basic signs of an ACL injury, and this might need an intervention. Frequently, very frequently, that we hear from our patients, sir, would this heal if in case that we take rest? Somebody has given us an immobilizer, somebody has given us a plaster. So should we expect that this will heal? So your treating doctor will also tell you that after the evaluation, the clinical history that he's taken, or the examination that they have done, or the MRI scans that they've seen, after that thing that they would be able to explain to you completely of what kind of a management would be there. So in case that we are using a knee immobilizer or a temporary plaster to immobilize the joint, this is basically to reduce the swelling, the pain, and to elevate the symptoms that the patient has. So in case we don't immobilize and we keep using the part, this inflammation does not reduce and it leads to severe symptoms and aggravation of symptoms. So while we talk to the patient, we usually try and explain that if there is an instability and the MRI depicts that there is a complete full thickness or a high grade tear of the ACL or the anterior cruciate ligament, they would usually require a surgical intervention for the same in case that they would want to go back to the field again. So now there are some patients who have an MRI scan and their MRI scan says that there is a partial ACL injury. So in these cases, what usually happens is that some of the fibers of the ACL, in all the circumference that the ACL has, some fibers of that circumference actually get detached or torn from its insertion or its origin, right? Usually it is seen that the femoral insertion where the ACL goes and inserts, that is the usual site of ACL injury, and there are some fibers which are still attached. So these patients are usually in a fix if they should get operated or not. So there is a very clear line of demarcation which gives us the decision. So this decision is usually taken by the symptomatology of the patient. In case that they ever feel that they have an instability or they have a feeling of underconfidence, this straight away guides us, or they have an event of subluxation or dislocation of the knee again. This usually states that these patients might require a surgical intervention to completely alleviate the symptoms. In case there is a failed rehab, that is about 3 months of conservative treatment along with good supervised physiotherapy, strength training exercises, balance training exercises under a sports physiotherapist. So indication of surgery basically is the instability or the complaint of the patient. In case that the MRI findings do not exactly match of the symptomatology or the clinical history of the patient, we usually give precedence to the clinical history and examination. MRI holds importance, but in case that the patient is persistently complaining of symptoms, we usually say that the patient should undergo the knife, and they have resolution of symptoms in most of the cases. In cases where this partial ACL injury occurs and the patient has some amount of fibers still attached to the femoral insertion or still attached on both ends, what we usually do is called a partial augmentation surgery. Partial augmentation surgery is also there on my YouTube channel. You can go through it, whereby what we do is we preserve some remnant and we make a new ligament along with that remnant. So in these cases, what happens is that the proprioception or balance sense in these patients is usually much better as compared to the patients where your complete ACL tear happens and the ACL stump has to be debrided and new ACL has to be made, right? So these are the patients where we usually do a partial ACL augmentation. So coming down to the next question, usually patients ask what is the graft that will be used to do this surgery and what is the best graft in your hands, right? So every surgeon has their own set of choices, but patients should understand that all the grafts have quite the same strength as compared to the other, right? So there are few advantages and few selective disadvantages of taking grafts from all the sites because there is mild donor site morbidity wheresoever graft is taken from. That graft may be taken from bone patellar tendon bone graft, or that may be a hamstring graft, that may be a peroneal graft. So there are a lot of varieties to choose from. But we have clinically seen that the graft site or the kind of graft that we take up for this ACL reconstruction usually does not hamper or alter the kind of end result that we have. There might be some specific complications to each of these grafts, and there might be some selective advantages of each of these grafts, but in the long run it really does not matter of what graft has been used and how it is fixed. So the ACL result basically is that the player should come on the field. So all the grafts in toto have the same results. Maybe a few grafts have an early recovery where your bone unites with the bone, specifically in the bone patellar tendon bone graft, and there might be some donor site morbidity, especially with the hamstrings, maybe with the peronei also. Also with the bone patellar tendon bone grafts, you might have some persistent anterior knee pain. So every set of graft actually has a donor site morbidity. There are some patients that come to us and ask us regarding what is actually being done in this procedure, right? So this is basically a minimally invasive procedure or an arthroscopic procedure whereby there are two holes, small incisions that are given on both sides of your knee, one of which actually forms the viewing portal and the other forms the working portal. There is a place where we take the graft from and we put in this graft after making two small tunnels in both the bones, the leg bone and the thigh bone. So this graft is inserted in these tunnels through the arthroscope under visualization, and this is usually fixed with the help of screws and a button. So the choice of implant that has been used is completely dependent on your surgeon or your personal preference, and you can ask your orthopedic surgeon or your arthroscopic surgeon regarding the selective advantages and disadvantages of suspensory fixation versus aperture fixation, right? I hope you like this video and this video helps you clear some of your doubts and your common myths that you have. Please do not fear the surgery. It's a keyhole surgery with basic minimum complication rates, and these are very, very successful surgeries, and most patients are returning to field with the same level of competence as pre-injury. So all the very best. Hope you like it.